Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I'm really excited to have with me Neil Davis, who's going to talk all about the upcoming Creatures Fest being held in Nashville, Tennessee on Memorial Day weekend. This show is going to be really exciting. As most Kiss fans already know, it includes Ace Frehley, Bruce Kulick, Vinnie Vincent, Peter Criss, and many other artists. It's going to be a really fun weekend. It's going to be a blast, no doubt about it. Neil's going to share with us some of the backstory of how it came to be that Peter Criss and Ace Frehley are going to be performing together for the first time in many years. He'll also give us some more insights onto the Vinnie Vincent set, as well as the Bruce Kulick set. Lots of great information in this, an exclusive announcement about another band that's going to be joining the party. I think you guys are going to really enjoy this, so let's jump in and let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Today I'm really excited to have with me for the first time Neil Davis, promoter of Creatures Fest. Welcome, Neil.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. It's nice to be here and it's good to see you again.
Absolutely. It's, we've spoken on the cruise. I've seen you in some of these Kiss events. I think I've seen you at some of the Vinnie Vincent events in the past, but this is the first time you're on the show. So I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah, well, there's a 4 or 5 year backlog to get on the show. So finally I made it up the queue.
You did. There's no four, but thank you. That's really nice. But, Neil, for the people who are maybe watching, listening, who maybe don't know you, first I'll say those people need to get out a little bit more, but I'm just joking about that. But no, obviously you've been involved with some Kiss events in the past. Just for the people who are watching here and maybe don't know you, talk a little bit about how you became a Kiss fan, and maybe even more importantly, when and how you started doing these events and promoting these types of events.
Yeah, sure. So, I'd love to talk about Kiss stuff. So it's easy. My story's, my story, but it's probably pretty similar to a lot of ours, yours, and a lot of the people watch your show. I mean, as a young age, back in the 70s, I liked music at a really young age. At 9 or 10, I was listening to classic rock, what you call that then. But back then it was, Zeppelin, the bands like that. And I don't remember I wish I remember the years when I started listening to Kiss, but when I did, it was all in. I mean, everything else was there's that, and then everything else was secondary. And I remember buying Rock and Roll Over when it came out. So that would have been 76. So about 75-ish, somewhere around. And then, and I was 10, I was born in 65. So, at a pretty early age, I was kind of all in, and, I had all the posters and trash cans that sell for so much money. I had them all, the belt buckles and everything. That what I wasn't wise enough was not to keep. I didn't keep the stuff. I didn't buy it and kind of put it in saran or stuff. I used it all, but I loved it, and I always loved the music. I loved the visual part of it all. Back then you didn't ever get the chance to see the people. There's the band. There's a mystique about it, and I loved it. And over the years you grow older, and you get not distracted, but you have careers, you have families, and those things but I've always been a huge passionate Kiss fan. And my first show was Dynasty at Lakeland Civic Center in 79, so I was 14 years old.
Was that the opening night of the tour?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
It was.
Very cool.
In fact, there's a bootleg vinyl out of that one, and I just bought my second copy of it, and just because I was there, So
right, of course.
So one of them I just want to keep in frame, and one of them I want to listen to. So one's going to be my listening one, one's going to be the one on the wall.
Sure.
And since I'm going to see Ace and Peter in a few months, I want to have them sign that album for me, because that's the first time I saw the two of them. But then saw them on Creatures of the Night tour. my biggest regret was during the non-makeup era. They had some shows at different places, but I was in school, didn't have any money, parents weren't paying for the stuff anymore. So didn't see him again until early 2000s. And then, by the time the reunion tour, I bet since 96, probably 75 shows. And,
wow.
I tell people my wife, I took her maybe our second date, we flew up to Canada and saw the what was the Ottawa Rocks outdoor festival that Kiss is the headliner. So that was her first experience, and she didn't realize, first of many experiences to being involved with Kiss. So it's always been a big part of my life, and and again that story is probably no different than yours, Mike, and many.
Yeah, I'll pause you for a moment. It's pretty funny because we never talked about this. My third or fourth date with my wife was going to see Paul Stanley at L'Amour's in 1989. So, and my first tour was Dynasty in 79. So my first album was Rock and Roll Over. So as you're telling the story, I'm like, yeah, you might as well just take off your name, put mine, and it's the same story.
I think we're about the same age. I think we're going through exact same things, and and not to sound too kind of mushy or something like that, but life has its ups and downs, particularly when you're a kid. And for me, what was always consistent for me was music. So during the toughest times in my life, I always had music, and in particular Kiss music. So whenever you're going through the things that maybe in hindsight you look back weren't that big of a deal as they were, growing up, and the music kind of carried me through it all. And frankly, even today, on my toughest days, I put on my headphones, go for a walk, and I still listen to, the Kiss Alive is to me such a powerful album. And again, I don't know how many times I've listened to Rock and Roll Over and Destroy those. So I mean, I literally can just almost kind of, know everything about each of those songs, and wasn't as engaged in the Bruce era music. And so it's been fun the last 10 years getting more kind of reversing it more and spending more time listening to that stuff. And it's, that's just powerful, amazing music as well. And but for me, I was definitely a 70s, kind of all in Kiss fan.
And with everything that you said, the one thing that makes me jealous, every time I hear somebody say it, you saw them on the Creatures of the Night tour. I'm like, damn it, that's the one tour since 79 that did not come to the New York City area. It's the only tour I've missed since 79. I'm always jealous of you guys.
Well, Mike, because we both went to the Dynasty tour, and I saw it at a place called Lakeland Civic Center in Florida. That's where all the big concerts were back then. So I saw it there, sold out, 10,000 people. I bought a ticket. I was so far away. They didn't have jumbotrons back then, but it's like these little figures over there. I mean, I was happy to be there. 4 years later, they played Creatures Night, same exact place, same hall. I showed up an hour before the concert. The open doors, walked in, and I was 5 rows back. It was just so much had changed, and just that show was probably, I don't know, I don't know what the official numbers say, but I can't imagine there's more than 1,500 people there. So, but what was awesome about it was you're up there and you can kind of see the whites of everybody's eyes,
right?
And and they sounded great. I mean, it's a great show, and
amazing talk.
And like everything, you have sometimes little snippets of things you remember seeing, like in life, like a Dynasty. I remember vividly when they came up out of the stage at the beginning of the show.
Very vividly, yes.
I still remember seeing that, just like that clip, right? And then they ran, Peter ran to the drum kit, and I still remember from Creatures, in particular, Vinnie standing right in front of me, because I was a classic guy, so he was the Ace replacement. I'm like, and stuff like that, and he just had such a kind of a different look. It wasn't he wasn't trying to be Ace. And I go, you know what? I love Ace, but this guy, this guy can play guitar, and he certainly had kind of a aura about him as well.
When you went that night, did you know Ace wasn't going to be there, or did you think Ace was going to be the guitar player that night?
No, I knew it. In fact, it's a little not funny thing, but because I was able to drive at that time. I was still in high school, but I had a car, and most people didn't know it. And I was making bets with people at work. I said, "Hey, I don't think and they're going, "Yeah, Aces," and so forth. And we bet enough, like I paid for a concert shirt, and but so I brought back a shirt with a picture of Vinnie, and I go, "Here's the guitarist," and so forth. And I said, "It's not Ace anymore." So that paid for my concert ticket and my gas over there.
There you go. Nice.
Which back then was $20. The whole
crazy
concert experience. bands. Yeah.
Crazy time. But hey, that's all cool. So
Yeah.
obviously fast forward now, and in more recent years, you're actually working with some of the band members, putting on events. We've got Creatures Fest coming up at the end of May. You do a Kiss tribute band as well. How did you get involved in that aspect of all of your Kiss fandom?
Yeah, well, so as part of that growing up, at an early age in high school or before high school, middle school, I picked up the guitar and started playing, and just played and wasn't necessarily great at it, but I always say, if you do the same thing enough times, you get to the point where you can do it. So I just been doing it now for what is it, 35, 40 years, Mike.
Oh, wow.
Back then, we go back then. So I played the guitar and had the Les Paul back then for Ace, and then switched to the bass guitar 20-ish years ago, and been playing that. And it's fun. Part of the story is I go, well, I'm just not that good at guitars. Maybe if there was less strings, I'd be better. And that was kind of my rationale. So, okay. But I've been doing it. So now it's, since 2009. So what's that, 12, 13 years.
And for everybody watching, what's the name of the band?
Kiss America.
Yep.
Kiss America. We're based in Florida, and I think we do a pretty good job. There's some great tribute bands across the country. We think that they do a good job, and I think there's some we do, and there's a lot of other bands that do a great job doing it as well. And we've done at this point hundreds of shows, and just like it's still exciting for me to listen to Kiss live in my headphones. Every time we do a show, I'm just thrilled, that doing it and emulating, playing respect to the band that's so important to me and all of us, that the people that are watching the shows typically kind of the same profile as me, just love the stuff.
Absolutely. So now I remember talking with you a little bit on the cruise last year, and you said to me at the time, hey, I'm planning this Creatures Fest event. And I think you even gave me like a little card, or whatever, postcard, yeah. Right. And I remember at the time, and perhaps my perception was wrong, but I'm like, this is going to be a cool Vinnie Vincent event. It's a Creatures Fest. And boy, has this event taken on a life of its own since that time, right? I mean, obviously Vinnie's still there, and that's the headliner for the Saturday night, but you've now got Ace Frehley there. You've got Bruce Kulick there. You've got Peter Criss there. You've got all these other support bands there. You've got every living ex-Kiss member in one place in one weekend, which to my knowledge has never happened before. And I'm going to guess is never going to happen again. You've probably been a little busy the last few months since we spoke about that day on the cruise.
Well, it has never happened before. And I know because Vinny's told me he's never met Ace. So, and so they've never, Vinny's met Peter. In fact, they've got a nice, I mean, they don't talk regularly, but, have had, some nice experiences in the past. He's met.
Well, Peter covered Vinny's song on Let Me Rock You.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, so it's really, and when I was on the cruise, I like, the Creatures of the Fest out. Actually, I've got one of the Creatures of the Night albums right here. I mean, I love the look of it. I love the album. And when I was thinking of a name of an event, I like the word fest, so, sure. So I'm like going, well, what do I call it? I'd done Cruise Fest in the past and stuff. And I said, going through, I go, well, how about Creatures Fest? I like the name of it all. And, my intent was always to try to make it, as big as we can make it, Mike. And
you can't get much bigger than this.
Well, and I don't, again, I've said this regularly, is that, I'm a Kiss fan like you and everybody else. I mean, I've kind of been involved with putting on events. So like you've got your podcast. We all do different things, sure. And I do it because I love it, not for any other reasons. I got my regular job. It's not what I do for a living, and I do it just because I love it. And I've said many times, if someone said, "Hey Neil, why don't you do a Motley Crue Fest?" I absolutely wouldn't do it. I'd go to it because I love Motley Crue as well. But there's so much work. The only way I would do it is for the band Kiss, because I love what we're doing. So to me, the payoff is the fact that I've had an opportunity to talk to Peter on the phone the last couple of months. I had a chance to have lunch with Bruce Kulick when he was in Florida a couple of months ago. So to me, I always think back to the little kid at Lakeland Civic Center going, oh my gosh, and, now talking to him, and sure. The two of us and everybody watching this would get it. Other people in the outside world say, what's the big deal? But it's a huge deal. It's really,
it really is. It really is.
So,
now, Good.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I mean, so the event's really, taken off. I mean, I plan to, I remember on the cruise, I was having conversations with Bruce about it, and but these things take a while and to do it. So I think at that point, right before the cruise started, I said I'm going to do it because we had canceled Cruise Fest, back in August, because at that point, Delta was coming up, and it turned like it ebbed, kind of came back down. By the time we had the cruise, it wasn't an issue, but we didn't know that when I had to make that call in August. So that was year 2, and I said, gosh, I really want to have a big event. I'd had a smaller event in Florida in 2020, so I said, I'm going to do this, and I didn't want to do it in Florida because the Kiss cruise has always been in Florida, except for 17. So I wanted to do something so it didn't kind of confuse it with having to do with the cruise parties. And I love Nashville. My daughter at the time was going to school up there, so I'd been up there a few times, and it's a great music town. I'd always thought it was a country music town, which is the farthest thing from the truth.
It's not true.
And so I said, let's do it there. And I said I'm going to commit to it and print up the cards. And I remember I was handing them all out, and as Kiss fans, I was like going, hey, I don't want to bother them, like, and they're like, hey, let me have one. So it's it's kind of a souvenir thing. So and it's obviously grown quite a bit since then.
No, it has. And one of the things I love that you're doing is you're making each night unique in and of itself, right? So let's even just talk the first night, right? The Ace Frehley set. You're letting fans vote on songs that Ace is going to do in this set. We'll talk about Peter in a moment, right? That in and of itself is worth the price of admission for the weekend. But I think that's so cool that you're letting, and Ace is open to the fact of voting for songs on his set.
Well, and you said something that I'm letting them. I'm not. It's not me that's letting. It's right. Ace that's letting them.
That's true.
So yes. I mean, I requested that, and artists don't let you do that. Call up if you could call up Mick Jagger. I don't know if they could. You can't tell them what songs to play. I mean, they just don't let you do that. Sure. And even Ace plays all the time. I don't think going out there that he does that regularly. I think that all the artists appreciate the fact that this is a fan-based event. This is really big fans. It's not a matter, most of the people are traveling there. It's not a matter, he came to your city, he said, it's Friday night, I'll go there because I used to remember Kiss. I mean, everybody be there wants to be there. And he was really open to the idea of it all. And, we talk about the Kiss cruise, one thing everyone does on the Kiss cruise is talks about the songs they want the bands to play, because that's where we all, and sometimes we're happy about the songs, sometimes we're not. But I said, well, what if we had a chance to pick some of those songs? So I mean, I think it's great. I mean, we're going to definitely hear some songs that that you don't hear right. Ace or Kiss or anyone play, or maybe in some cases have never played.
Now, who's the one? So, like the first vote, if I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, right? It was "What's on Your Mind," "I'm in Need of Love," and "Speeding Back to My Baby" was the third one, maybe?
No, it was White. God, that seems so long.
Wiped
ago
out. Wiped out.
Yeah, Wiped Out. Yeah. So what I did.
So who chose those three? Like, who would choose the three? Was it you? Was it Ace?
Yeah. So what? No. I picked the 3 songs for each one, and then the fans vote on them. And I was going to do something, and I think I told some people this, and it just I said, I say the fans pick the songs. But I pick the first 3 and they pick them. So if it's truly fan picked, then everybody should be able to vote on the songs. But I thought, how am I going to do that? I mean, everyone's going to vote stuff, and it's just, because I get all these votes, and what happens, the emails, is I can go like the top line and say, they see which song, like that. And I have a little spreadsheet, so you work the way down and so forth. Sure. But I got to get and read each one, hey, I want to pick, Hooligan or something like that, then I got to do it. Okay, I got to write that down and stuff. So I go, that part won't work. But I mean, we did that. Then we did some things off of Don Kirshner's rock concert, because that was, honestly, be honest, Mike, that was a really impressionable thing in my life, was watching Don Kirshner's rock concert. And I remember when it actually came out for the first time, and it meant a lot to me. So I some people said, why are you picking that? Because those aren't Ace's song. I go, I don't know. Truth is because it's just, when I think back to my Kiss memories, it's a big memory for me, and I pulled on it, whether it was a good idea or not. I did. And then we just did some of the songs from his solo albums that are covers. Right. And I think we're going to do one more song. He probably would have let me do a few more, but now that Peter's playing, I feel like, hey, he's, that was initially what he agreed to do. That was something that they've just said, hey, we're going to do this for everybody. You know, we're not paying them for, we're not doing that. That was them saying, hey, the fans are coming, this will be great. So I thought, listen, you're doing a lot for us, Ace, and I'm not going to, you know, maybe 4 songs is enough, and then let you do a few, whatever you're gonna do with Peter.
Right. And, you know, we were talking, you know, prior to recording this, you know, that's my anniversary weekend. And my wife from day one was like, go, go, go. Once I heard Peter Criss was going to be there and perform with Ace, my wife was like, if you don't go, you're going to regret this for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
we could celebrate our anniversary the next day, Mike. And that's when I was like, buy a ticket instantly. Yeah. This is the first time in over 10 years, I think, that Ace and Peter are going to be sharing a stage. Well, first off, I know they did the Eddie Trunk event, but I think that was mostly a private event.
So I think it was too, and that was like 13.
Right.
So
that was 9 years ago, almost,
yeah,
right? So in a public setting, this is the first time in 22 years that these two guys are going to share a stage. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Which is absolutely amazing. So when you decided first to get Peter Criss on, did you know he was going to be playing with Ace, or was this just like even a surprise for you when this started to come together?
It was really, you know, everything's, you know, we kind of say, hey, they're doing this stuff, but there's a story behind everything. And, you know, I've had the opportunity to talk with Peter and his wife, Gigi, about doing some other things in the past, and scheduling didn't work. But we always had a nice dialogue, and they were always so nice to work with. And so we reached out to them. You know, they said, you know, tell us about the event, and I'm not talking about school because they said I could share this. You know, Peter just had knee surgery. Actually had it last week. He had a knee replacement, so they were hesitant because they when I started talking to them, they weren't sure what the schedule was going to be, and they knew they needed, you know, a couple months to recover, and they weren't sure when it's going to be scheduled. So we talked. We started talking probably 4 to 6 weeks before we announced it, and they had to check his schedule when the surgery was going to be. They had to talk to their doctor, and so initially when I talked to him, it was like, come down and do some meet and greets, because he doesn't play really anymore.
No.
So
I was at his last show in New York, whatever it was, 2017.
Yeah. And so I thought it might almost be disrespectful to ask him to do it, because he said he wasn't really doing that anymore, and I was at that point going, hey, Peter's come to the event. Oh my gosh, I mean, that's enough. I mean, I already felt, and I remember his wife, Gigi, we were talking, and she said, hey, I'm just kind of joking. She goes, Neil, I'm just curious, if you could pick what Peter did, what would it be? And I go, I don't know, Gigi. She goes, come on, just tell me what it would be. And I said, I go, well, do his meet and greets. I said, for him to perform, and gosh, one other thing, and I can't remember. And she goes, well, that's probably too much for a whole weekend. She goes, but maybe he'd like be interested in performing. So, you know, I'm on the phone call. I'm going, oh, Gigi, that'd be great. I'm going, and you're like, I'm glad it wasn't a Zoom, so she couldn't see my face. And you know what? I want to, you know, if you got to be fair and give credit to everything. The reason why Ace and Peter are playing together, and if I took the credit, I think that would be unjust. Gigi Criss made this happen, and she, you know, talked to Peter about it, and she's the one who called Ace and said, hey, what do you think about it? And got them on the phone together. So because they haven't played together. I mean, you know, they haven't played. You know, I mean, you know, again, the Eddie Trunk thing, and I think they've got a good relationship, but I don't think their paths cross all the time. Right. So you know, she, because I remember talking to her, she goes, you know what, I'm gonna call up, and she had to go talk to her husband about it, and said, you know, what do you think about it? And so, and then she really made it happen. And, you know, she's a very behind the scenes person, and, but I think as fans, we ought to all know that, and she did it, and she implemented it, and Peter and Ace had to agree to it, because it was she really got the fact that this was a fan event. This was for the fans, and knowing how much the fans would talk about. I actually talked to her earlier today, and you know, she's I mean, she's helping Peter with the recovery right now, and she just says, hey, I just hear, you know, people, you know, her circle of people, you know, kind of says, seems like everybody's really excited about this. Like, the Gigi, everybody's. Yeah, that's
well, I'll just interject one thing. Forget the performance for 30 seconds, which to me is amazing. He was the first meet and greet to sell out, and he sold out like that for you guys. Like that. So that tells you the excitement that people have to see Peter Criss. So I think that's great.
Yeah, it was, I mean, before we announced them, we had the 3 former guitarists there. I mean, that was huge and so forth.
Yes.
And I was fine. I thought, oh my gosh, this is I'm just on cloud 9. And it took everything to me, the level to 100. And when he came on, I don't know what happened. Like since then, I was talking to somebody week before last. They're going, yeah, we were out at the Whiskey in LA. She goes, we were sitting around the bar, and everybody at the bar was talking about Creatures Fest. And I was talking to somebody in Australia, and they're all talking about it down there as well. And we've actually got people coming from, let's see, we have Spain, Central America. I'm trying to think where the people are coming from for the show, because it's still not that easy to travel internationally. I mean, I think you can do it, but it's not easy at this point. So it's really kind of I think the other neat thing is like a lot of the artists now. I was talking to one of them texted me while we were here. They're playing on Sunday, and they said, "Hey, can we come in on Thursday? Because we want to watch all the shows before our shows." Usually an artist will fly in the day before their show, perform, and then they kind of head back to their own life. But they're all fans, so they're going, "We want to be there from beginning to end," and because they're all fans of Ace and Peter and these guys as well. And frankly, Mike, this being on the cruise. We talk about Ace and Peter, which is magical. Bruce Kulick's show is in fire. If you haven't been to one of his,
it's usually the highlight of the cruises.
Yeah, and he doesn't do that. He did a New Year's show in Vegas. But his band members are tied up with other things. He's in Grand Funk Railroad. He's touring all the time. So I mean, for him to close the event out, I mean, that's a powerhouse show right there.
It's amazing, because to me, every Bruce show on the cruise is usually, like I said, the highlight of the cruise is he plays deep songs like you wouldn't, you can't ask for anything more. I mean, even just this was the last year we did some songs from Eric Carr's albums that he released. I mean, you talk about going as friggin' deep as possible, and his band, the whole Todd and Brett and oh my God, they're just friggin' amazing, absolutely amazing. And the fact that that's the last night, by then I'm going to be friggin' exhausted. When that show is over, I'm going to be like, what a friggin' weekend. But Bruce is going to friggin' bring it. No doubt about it.
well, I remember on this past Kiss cruise, I was buying, another Paul Stanley painting, and you get to go have a meet him. And my time was right before Bruce was starting, and it was a little bit late because I kind of go, okay, I'll be out for Bruce's show, but so they're a little behind schedule. And I'm standing, because they said, hey, stand in here, the art gallery. I go, can I stand in the hallway because I could see Bruce? And then they start off with, I think they started with Exciter. And I was like, oh my God, like that. Which I love Look It Up album, and playing. They go, okay, Neil, they're ready for you. Come on, you're kind of in queue and so forth. I'm going, yes, I want to go. I go, oh my gosh, I mean, of course I'm gonna go see Paul Stanley, but what is happening on the stage is incredible.
Agreed. And you just said how much you love Lick It Up. So let's just talk about the Vinnie show for a few moments here also, right? So I know when this was first announced, Vinnie was going to be doing the Creatures of the Night set front to back, which is somebody who never saw the Creatures of the Night tour. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then with all these other guests coming in, and you said that, hey, I want to give Vinnie a chance to play deep cuts, songs that, maybe they never played live, such as I know you post online that they were rehearsing Rock and Roll Hell. So I don't think I'm spilling any beans over here, but talk about what Vinnie said, what the plan is, as much as you can.
Yeah. So initially when we did it, I'm a sucker for history, and I love the Rio show.
Who doesn't?
There, but watching it all, and I said, why don't we recreate that? Because that's kind of I try to do things that have kind of got some historic, something unique about it, and I love the idea, and it was my idea, and I thought it was a good idea at first. And announced that. And I said, Vinnie, kind of, here's what we want you to do. And he said, hey, if that's what you want and so forth. And then, I was looking at the set list, and it's a great set list, but it's a very familiar set list. I mean, if you take 75% of those songs, you can go see them on the End of the Road tour. And I love the End of the Road tour. I've been to a ton of them. I'm going to go to a ton of them again. But there was a lot of the same songs, and the idea, this is for the fans. And I thought, well, gosh, it doesn't include anything on Lick It Up because on Creatures of the Night, and it has some great songs, but again, songs that we can hear on other shows. So I went to kind of Vinnie. I said, Vinnie, maybe would you mind if we rethought this a little bit? And I'd love to incorporate the Lick It Up album. I love the Lick It Up album. I think
Me too.
It's just aged really well. And he was like, Neil, what do you think the fans would like? And I said, I love the Rio idea. Vinny was mine, but I don't think it's the best idea. And I'll be the person to explain, hey, why we're changing and stuff. And it's because, who wouldn't want to hear The Eighth Day or something Young and Wasted and stuff like that as well. And he said, okay, let's do that. So so they did the rehearsals, the first rehearsals a few weeks ago, and played a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm not sure exactly what the whole set list is going to be, but it's going to be sampled from Creatures Night and Lick It Up. I'm convinced that I'm 99% sure that every one of the songs will be off one of those two albums.
That's awesome. Yeah. And look, I'll talk personally for myself. I'd much rather hear Vinny do, like you said, On the Eighth Day, Rock and Roll Hell, as opposed to Calling Dr. Love, which I love that song. It's one of my top 20 Kiss songs, but I've seen it 1,000 times, right? And I'm happy to see it, but with the Vinny thing, to me, it sounds much more special to do those deep cuts, Young and Wasted. I love that song. So to me, that's exciting to hear that Vinny's going to do that type of stuff.
Yeah. What I did then was I took those two albums, I took the songs that he was involved with writing them. And so I said, let's put those at the top of the list, but there's some other great songs as well. And let's try to, stick with those two albums and try to look at the ones that he was involved with writing and recording them. I think we're going to, we talked about kind of make them all rock, stay away from ballads, and I Still Love You. I love that song, but it's a ballad. So I think right now we're going to try to keep it more kind of high energy. And he was involved with writing that song, but I think that's kind of how we kind of ranked them and stuff. And he's been really kind of gracious about it all, but I'm sure he'd probably rather play songs that he was involved with on the album, and probably prefer to have songs he was involved with writing.
Yeah, in fact, I was even wondering, and you kind of said that 99% of songs will be from Creatures and from Lick It Up, but I was wondering, would he do something from an Invasion album or something like that? But it sounds like he's going to only focus on the Kiss stuff, which I can understand. It's a Kiss event.
Yeah. I mean, I think just because we probably won't do anything for Revenge, because that was Bruce's area, even though Vinny was involved with writing some of the songs. Since we have everybody there, we need to kind of make sure we let everybody have their space, and kind of not step on anyone else's real estate. So I think because Revenge is an amazing album as well. So but I'm sure Bruce will, as always, have his fair share from that album as well.
Of course.
So I think it's and I'm giving myself a room to deviate because there might be a chance, but right now I'm pretty convinced that it's going to be strictly Lick It Up and Creatures Night songs.
Well, the way you could solve that, Neil, is just get Bruce and Vinny to play together on those Revenge songs, and then it's not a problem.
Well, that's true. The Bruce is coming in because he's Grand Funk Railroad's playing. We're really fortunate because when we're talking to them, because they're a touring band. I mean, they're playing in Tampa on 2 days. I'm going to go see them in 2 days.
Oh wow, nice.
And they're playing right before that Thursday night. And they weren't sure if they were going to have some shows that weekend, which would have kept him from doing it. But he's got to do those shows. He's got to go back home because he use new guitars and stuff. So, anyways, I'm not sure. He's probably the one that will get there the latest because he's in another band. He's got commitments with that as well. Right. So, because I would, obviously clearly would love if they played some Revenge songs together.
Of course. Now, whether it's Ace, Vinny, Peter, I know you just talked about Bruce. Will those guys be there all weekend, or is like Ace just the Friday doing his meet and greets, doing the show, and then he's out after Friday? Like, how's that working?
Well, Ace is doing he's playing Friday night, and he's doing his meet and greets on Saturday.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure. I'd like him to stay. I'm still getting his travel confirmation done. Peter's going to be there through Monday. I know he's going to be there as well. And partly, Mike, I'll share with you, because I talked about Australia a minute ago, and there's a reason why. You said that you saw him in New York. When Peter did his shows in Australia, his support band was a band called Sisters Dolls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they came up to New York, and they were Bruce's backing band in Australia, and they came and they liked him so much. I've got to know them as well, and they're coming to perform at Creatures Fest.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they're going to play on Sunday, and I know he wants us to be there.
They're a great band, just even for themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
And
good
it's
day
such
to
a
be
nice,
alive. It's a great song. I love that song. It's such a happy, great song.
yeah, yeah, and really nice guys. I mean, when you saw them, I mean, because they're, I think Brennan, the oldest, is in late 20s, because there's three brothers, three
Yep.
brothers, and so they were probably in their early 20s, early to mid 20s then. And we did a Zoom call 2 weeks ago, and he was such a respectable,
Yep.
nice young guy. And I hate it. Like now, you and I are talking about young guys and so
Yeah.
forth, but
But
he
they are
was,
for us.
and
They are
and I
for us.
remember he said to me, and I didn't ask him this, but he said, he goes, Mr. McCurry. I said, please don't call me Mr. McCurry. So yeah, I said, so he goes, hey, I know we've never met before. I just want to assure you that my brothers and I are so thankful for having the opportunity to do this. We don't have egos. We don't drink. We don't do drugs. We will be respectful. Anything you'd like us to do to make the event, we're happy to do it. And,
That's awesome.
we just want to thank you for including us. Well, they didn't have to say it, but it was really nice coming from them. I thought whoever's raising those three young men are just doing an outstanding job.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. And that's an exciting addition to the weekend for me. Now, I know one of the things that fans keep asking me, and I'm sure you get it as well, is people have seen Vinnie at some of these expos in the past where he's just playing rhythm guitar, and that's what he was contracted to do. So there's no criticism of that. Will he be playing the leads, and will he be playing the solos during the expo here this when you do it? Or the fest,
Yeah.
sorry, not
I
the.
mean, a yes or no question, a yes or no answer is yes. I mean, he's the lead guitarist in the band.
That's
and
awesome.
Mike, because you and I were at one of his private things. That was in 2019, and there's people that say that he can't play lead, and you and I both seen it. He can.
I've seen it firsthand. It's
right.
So
he's going to he's going to play lead guitars, and he's going to do a solo, and so he's going to do both of them.
That's awesome. And that's what the fans want. And like you said, you and I have seen it firsthand. And I think the fans are going to be in for a special treat when they see him playing and kind of seeing that the skill is still absolutely there. I never get into, is it better, is it worse? The skill's still there, 100% still there to me. So that's all that matters.
Yeah. I've seen it because I saw that show when you and I were there in 2019. Then he did one at an event that I was back Thanksgiving this past year. And, his fingers are moving so fast. It's kind of like almost, blurring and so forth as well. And Mike, people, I remember at that 2019 event, I put a post up, and sometimes I wish I didn't put a post up, said he's shredding, he's doing great. And somebody said, how do I know you're not lying? I'm going, oh my goodness. So, but you know what, he's gonna have a great show in May. And I think that'll take care of a lot of people's, kind of comments or concerns or questions about his playing.
Without a doubt. Now, and I don't know if you could talk about this, and if you can't, it's okay for you to say, no, Mike, I can't answer that. But you did post online, about a week ago, that you were with Vinnie and that he's going to be releasing a new album. So were you involved in helping him with that at all? And, can you shed any more information on that?
Well, I sometimes there's no good deed goes unpunished.
Of course.
So we announced last summer he was working on re-releasing some material. He had an engineer, and Nashville's got so much talent. He was working with a great engineer there, and just to bring this music alive. And it's a slow process, and I think we'd said last August when we talked about it, it'd be sometime, probably this spring. And he finished up with it all. And what he did was, he said, hey, I'm so proud, I'm happy about it. I'd love to have, kind of friends and family to come over and hear it all. Great. So it wasn't a ticketed event. You couldn't, there was no ads for it. It was friends and people. We had about 25 people. We rented this place called Blackbird Studios in Nashville. It's really great, recording studio. And he played the music, he played a song, and he talked a little bit about it and so forth as well. And, it was really fun. So I, kind of thought I'd share the excitement I was feeling and put a few things up. And, it's funny, Mike, sometimes you put a post up on social media and you get a few comments, you read them. Like the next day, it was like 200, 250 comments. I said, oh my goodness. I mean, I'm really busy. So I glanced at them all and I said, like everything, there's a mix of comments and so forth. And I didn't. And so, it's finished up. It's going to the album production company. That takes like everything, it's slow right now with supply chain
Yes.
stuff. It's probably 4 to 6. They say it's gonna be 3 to 4 months. I assume it's 4 to 6 months. So that'll put it out in the fall. And I probably should have just kept my mouth quiet, because it's like, hey, because it wasn't. We weren't saying it's here. It is. It's ready. It was. He's playing it for some friends. It's not. It's still being pressed on vinyl and stuff. So it sounded great. And I feel like I maybe was it's his album, not mine. I probably shouldn't have even said anything about it, because it's a private event. And I was excited, and probably I don't drink much, but I think I had a couple of drinks that night. So I was like, hey, look at this stuff. But kind of like the event in 2019, where I said, hey, he's playing great, and people didn't believe it. I think at this point he's really excited about it. It sounds great. And we'll just it'll be out later this year, and people then can judge if they like it or not. Then it's just a matter of it's definitely a Vinnie Vincent Invasion sound, not a Kiss sound. It's not Kiss music. It's much heavier. It's a different sound. If you like Vinnie Vincent Invasion albums, you'll like it, and if you don't, then it probably won't be for you. But it's certainly that type of music, and if you like it, it's a great sounding album.
And I know in prior conversations that he's mentioned wanting to finish the recordings for some of the stuff he did in the 90s. I don't know if he's still writing new stuff as well, if he's just working on that stuff. My impression, and it's just my impression, is that it's probably going to be a lot of those songs from the 90s, maybe some other ones mixed in. And if you can't say, again, I fully respect that. It's not a problem.
Well,
like I said, it's not your record to talk
about. It's not my record, and I'd love to say anything, but I feel like maybe I created some bad press. It's not fair. People give him, aren't always nice to him and stuff. And I said some things, and it gave people reason to question his album, and that wasn't his doing, it was mine. So I feel like I overstepped my boundaries. So I thought, I just probably back out. I'm gonna let him play, and then I'll let him release his album, and then everybody can judge, make their decisions based on that, as opposed to my comments.
And I agree. Although I love that you made the comments, right? Because it was good insight for us that we didn't have. And I'll say this in defense of you and defense of Vinnie as well. I know you're saying 3-4 months is what you were told, and you're saying maybe 4 to 6. I just had Jason Herndon on from Kiss My Wax, 3-4 weeks ago, and he's working on a Slaughter album that took them a year to press that. Right. So, don't be surprised if it's not 3 months. And I'm saying this for the fans, not to you. Right. Don't be surprised if it's not 3 months or 6 months and it turns into a year. That's just right now what's out there in the industry and pressing records. It is what it is. Right. That's out of everybody's control.
Yeah, there's a company called Discmaker, really, I think a great company, and that's who they were going to go with. And they were saying, listen, this is going to be that long. And Vinny's friends with some people in Nashville that work for Gibson, who have, kind of their friends work for a record plant in, I think in Memphis, somewhere in Tennessee. So they called and kind of said, can you, I don't know what they, so, but they said, yeah, we'll get it in, and 3 or 4 months. But again, I'd be surprised. It's like building. You want to construct something that it's never built on time, just because it's tough to get materials and stuff. So, again, that's probably why I was poor judgment on my part saying anything about it, because now if it's not out in 4 months, people will say that guy Neil was fibbing or something.
Well, if anybody paying attention to the industry knows what's going on in the record industry right now. So I think it's cool that you shared the information. So let's move off of that so I don't get you in any more trouble. But so I know originally you had said that the Vinnie show, there was going to be a tank stage, and obviously we're moving off the Creatures thing. Is the thought still to have a recreation of the tank, or are we moving away from that? To me, it's just cool that he's playing. So
yeah. Well, no, because the tank was used on Creatures Night and the Lick It Up tour.
So
it's applicable to both of those albums. Mm-hmm. So I'm really fortunate. There's a metal fabricator and great musician in Florida that's done some amazing kind of stage type of work before, and I spoke to him last fall about this. So he's in the midst of making it, and what I told everybody is that it's not like a prop, and I'm in a tribute band. I use some props, sometimes that look cool, but you can't go stand on the stairs because the props. This is one is actually a real. I mean, it's built where you can get on the tank, and they'll get on the tank, and it actually rolls out and so forth. So like it did, and the what do you call them, the tank wheels, there's a word for them. You stand on, that's where the mic stands are as well. So they're actually like fully functional ones.
That sounds incredible. I mean, I know Kiss did something like that on the cruise, but to see that you guys are going to be doing this at Creatures Fest, to me, is just, like you said, one of the first concerts I've been to in my life was the Look It Up tour, and they had
Yeah.
the Tank, right? So many people think of the Tank and they think of the Creatures tour. For my whole life, since, like I said earlier, I didn't see the Creatures tour. That Tank to me was a symbol of the Look It Up tour, because that's the tour that I saw. So I think that's really cool that he's still going forward with that.
Yeah. In fact, the guy who's building the Tank, this is going back to probably December. Vinnie and myself, we got it on a conference call, and Vinnie was telling him about it. So it's really cool as a Kiss fan. He goes, hey, so, and because there's no plans. If there's a plan like 4 was built, I don't know, no one knows where it is. So it was being constructed by looking at pictures and like, hey, how high should it be? Okay, well, Gene stands next to it's right here. Gene's 6'2". That's about this. So that's how we were doing it.
Wow.
But he got on the phone and Vinnie was telling him things about it, and here he goes, he said, well, he goes, is it a motor that turns it right and left? He goes, well, the way we used to do it we had 2 guys who pushed it out, and then there was a wood thing, and they turn it to make the things turn.
Oh.
And then he started, and Vinny's a great storyteller, so he tells some stories about some with it all, and I'm going, this is what's great about being a Kiss fan. This is what's fun to me about doing this stuff. Is not, again, it's I have no interest in being in the quote business of doing it. I've got a career. I'm happy with my career, and it's fine. What I love doing it is because it gives us an opportunity to do this stuff. And my payment for all the time in is not monetary. It's hearing a story about when the Tank went out one time and the guy slipped and it fell over, and Eric's, those type of things are going, that's, and that be for all of us. I mean, that's just, what's just so special to have these type of moments.
Right. No, I mean, look, it sounds super exciting to me. And we haven't even mentioned at all any of the support bands that are going to be there, whether it's Enough's Enough, a couple of guys from Trix is going to be there, and the list goes on, right? So talk a little bit about some of your other bands that are not the members from Kiss that are going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, it's you could take that the non-Kiss people, and it'd be an amazing event. We've got
Vixen.
John Corabi, who's great.
Yeah.
Enough's Enough is actually doing 2 shows. They're doing their own music, and they just recently put out a Beatles album where they perform Beatles music, and it's really good, Mike. It's really good.
It's excellent. So I actually interviewed Chip for that record, and he does a great version of Jet. I mean, amazing.
Yeah. So they're doing a set. They're doing a set of their music. They're going to do on one another day a set of the Beatles music.
Awesome.
Then we've got Vixen, and they're going to perform, and they're also going to come do a panel discussion, talk about what they're like, kind of being in the rock and roll business, being females in the rock and roll industry. We've got a Pretty Boy Floyd. They've blown up with this new HBO show that they were in the soundtrack on, and they're a really high energy band. Quiet Riot. I'm just a big fan of Quiet Riot, and a lot of people probably know, but not everybody. They were the first band to have a #1 single as in heavy metal with as well. And Rudy, the bass, unfortunately they've had a couple of original members pass away. But Rudy, the bass player, who's done a lot of other stuff with Ozzy and is such a respected musician, he rejoined the band. And the singer is an incredible singer. So to have them playing, I always want to do these events. I like to have kind of like an emerging artist, and we've got one called Korezik. They're out of New York, and kind of high energy band. And now we've got Sister Dolls. That's kind of again, call them emerging artists out of they're pretty established in Australia, so
yes,
they're probably a little more emerging in here. And then and then we're doing a few. The exciting part, there's a couple of still things that are still to be announced music wise that we're probably within 10 days away of sharing as well. Chris Jericho and his band Quarantine are playing. That's really cool. And
that's how it's a killer lineup when you're forgetting Chris Jericho, right?
Yeah,
he has his own cruise. He does his own thing, and he's like almost like, oh wait, I forgot Chris Jericho.
I hope he doesn't see this because I don't want him to punch me in the head or something. Because Chris Jericho
wrestle you to the ground. Boom.
Chris Jericho is like you said, he has his own cruise, and he's if you're a wrestling person, if you type in top wrestlers of all time, like the list, he's always in the top 10 list. He's just an icon in wrestling, and he's had such a success in the music career. And I don't know Chris, I'm looking forward to getting to know him better. Everybody tells me he's such a cool guy, so I'm looking forward to these type of events. You and I and everybody else have a chance to literally have more intimate time experience with the people. And and we got a couple again cool things that we're doing as well.
Yeah, so I'm glad you
mentioned Trickster. Trickster is really cool. I'm excited about having Trickster doing a show. So another great fun band.
Yeah, no, I love Trixa, and I think Steve Brown's a great guitarist. But I'm glad you mentioned you're kind of getting to meet the bands and all that. So you have meet and greets that people could purchase with professional photos and all of that. So just talk a little bit about how fans could do that if they're interested.
Yeah, well, the Peter Criss is sold out,
Yep.
And the Ace individual ones are sold out. What we try to do was like some package deals where you could, because the meet and greets is, artists have to pay bills as well. That's kind of how they. But we created some value packages where you could buy. We called one the Rock Gods or. Because there's the Rock Gods and
the Holy Trilogy.
Holy Trinity. So you can do it. It really gets the price down. So there's somewhere you can go, and there's a few left with the Holy Trinity where you get Ace, Vinnie, Bruce, and all the other bands into as well. Then they have one where you just have like the non-Kiss members in as well. Have a chance to do it. I was talking to Matt Starr from Ace's band last night, and he wants to come over, and he designs a really cool drum head, so he's going to have some of those as well. So you can meet with him and do it. Actually before this, I just got off the phone with Carrie Stevens, who was
Eric Carr's girlfriend.
Eric Carr's girlfriend. She's coming as well, and you have an opportunity. She just put out a book during the quarantine, and so she's never had like an official premiere. So it's kind of her world premiere in a sense of doing it in person. So she's going to be there with her book and having a chance to meet her and really about everybody that's there you have a chance to meet if you want to, some of them you'll like everything, they're all staying in the hotel. You might see some people walking around. If you want something like an opportunity to sit down and have them sign things for you and have a professional photographer, you can buy the meet and greet. But we're all, it's like the cruise, we're all in the same 300-yard radius of each other.
Absolutely. So then will some of these artists also have tables set up? So you have the official meet and greets, right? Where you take professional pictures and get autographs. Will some of the artists also have tables set up where if you just want to go and get something signed, you could do that as well?
Right. Yeah. So we're doing a lot of meet and greets. So if you want like if you remember the Cruise Fest, we had a guy named Andrew Brusso, who's an amazing photographer, high quality pictures, logo on them. I mean, they're super, they're not like your iPhone pictures and stuff. I mean, they're really high quality. So we're doing that as well. But if you also, we're gonna have some people just in the Expo City. If you, again, like use Matt Starr's example, if you want to meet Matt, you can come over and have him sign something. I'm sure if you want one of his drum heads, I've got one, they're really cool. And we're gonna have some other people doing that type of stuff as well.
That's awesome. Do will the guys like Bruce or Ace or Peter have anything at a table if you just want something signed, or is it right? I figured it's only going to be the meet and greets because they're in such demand that it's just, if you put a table out for Peter Criss, the line would be out the hotel, down onto the highway, going to the airport.
We'd have to stop the whole event for that.
Yeah.
So as I said before, we're really fortunate. Peter's getting off of knee surgery. He's going to come in and perform with Ace on Friday. He's got an all day. He's doing meet and greets on Friday, doing them on all day Saturday as well. And I think Sister Dolls are performing Sunday. I mean, and I don't know this, but for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't introduce them, and who knows anything else as well. But he's going to be there the whole time, so he's going to be around a lot doing things. So, but we couldn't put him in the Expo place. The place would go crazy.
Yeah. No, I agree. And look, I think back to the last time I had a meet and greet with him in New York, 2017 or 18, whatever it was. The line was 6-7 hours long for people to meet him. It's just crazy because with Peter,
he spends time with you. I mean, he really doesn't much. So what we're going to do is we're going to do like A and B. So we'll say if you're in group A, we're going to have everybody's going to have a number. So so because nobody, if you stand in line for 6 hours, you're going to miss other things going on. So you'll have a number, and then we'll say and you're in group A, and then you're in group B. So group A might be from 1 to 3, and then your number. If you're number 4, you need to be there right away. If you're number 44, you can show up an hour and a half later. Then if you're in group B, you don't need to be back till 3 o'clock. So we're trying to do it so you're not sitting kind of 7 hours while other things going on because you don't want to miss your meet and greet.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you mentioned that with Peter, because I've met Peter a few times in the last decade, and every time it's 10 minutes, it's 15 minutes, it's 7 minutes. It's not just a quick sign something, take a picture, goodbye. He really takes the time with the fans. And I know he hasn't done a lot of stuff outside the New York area. I've been fortunate to meet him a number of times. I think that's one of the reasons his meet and greet sold out so fast. But everybody who's lucky to get a ticket for that, you're going to be in for a treat, in my opinion, with meeting Peter. He's just so amazing with the fans.
Yeah. And he's been great. Like, I've been, when I've been talking to his wife, she'll play with finger. Hey, Pete, hey, sweetie. He comes to the door. She goes, hey, I'm on the phone with Neil. She puts on there. He goes, hey, Neil. That's my New Jersey accent. I don't know, but he gets on the phone and just talks and everything like that. And I'm, and same thing. I'm going, hey, Peter, how you doing, man? This is gonna be really fun. I'm thinking to myself, and I think another kind of fun story. 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was on the phone. She goes, you want to hear something cool? I go, yeah, sure. She goes, because we're talking about, and I were talking about basements before we got online.
Yeah.
And she goes, Peter's downstairs playing drums. You want to hear? I go, hell yeah. So we walk down there and she puts the phones, he's doing a drum solo and so forth. And he wasn't doing it for me, but he's playing it. But I thought to myself, I just got a personal Peter Criss drum solo and stuff. So
does it get any better than that? Crying out loud.
Not to me, it doesn't.
Right.
So, but they get on the phone and they're so, they're excited about this, Mike. This is fun for them. They do music and they do these type of things for a living. That's how they pay their bills and stuff. But they're really genuinely, kind of get the excitement about this as well. And Ace and Peter did not have to play together. Right. No one paid them to do it. Nobody pushed them to do it. It was an idea that was presented to them. They both said, that's great, let's do it.
I love it. And I love that before you said like Gigi was the one that's helping coordinate all of that. To me, that's going to be a freaking high. There's going to be so many highlights of the weekend.
Yeah.
But the fact of Ace and Peter playing together, to me, is just, I think if people aren't there, they're going to regret it after the weekend with something like that. So,
well, I'm not saying this if I wasn't involved at all and you were putting it on, I would have bought tickets and so forth, and I would have skipped my anniversary for it as well because it's just too big of a thing. So if you're a Kiss fan, and listen, I understand it. We just come off a pandemic, and some people really had a tough time during it, and you got to pay to fly there. You got to get hotel rooms, and it costs. There's a meaningful outlay to do it all, and it's not right for everybody. And there's been times in my life where I haven't been able to do things because it just wasn't in the budget, so you just can't do it sometimes. So I get it, but with that, I think if you got the opportunity to do it and you're a Kiss fan, boy, if you don't, you'll probably sit back and say, what was I thinking?
And thank God bless. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, because we're already getting the people who didn't get the Peter Criss meet and greets. I will get off this podcast and get back on my emails and people saying, please kind of get them and so forth, because they procrastinated a little bit for whatever reason, or maybe we're buying their tickets. And it's not that, again, Peter's got a full day. He's recovering from surgery. He's just trying not to overcommit himself because he probably might be moving a little bit slower because he just had surgery last week. He just had a knee replaced. Yeah. So we already have people saying I regret that I waited to buy my stuff as well. And I go, I get it, but I tell everybody, you're going to get him see play with Ace. And, I'd love to, sit there, look at him eye to eye and have him sign my Peter Criss solo album and have a picture with him. Of course I would. But if I can't do that, sitting there and watching him and Ace play together is I don't know. I can't come up with the right words to describe that.
Yeah, no, look, I fully agree with you. And I'll say this, you mentioned before, that it's my anniversary. I'm so thankful that my wife is so cool. And she's like, we'll go to dinner the next day. It's okay. Because my anniversary is that Sunday. And at one point I was like, well, maybe I'll fly home Sunday morning. Now your sister's doll, Bruce is playing. I'm like, oh, thank God I'm making the decision, because I think I would have been like, damn, I regret not being there for this. And I have to say one other thing. You've been very transparent. You spoke about Peter having a surgery right now. And I know he gave you permission to say that as well. You've been very transparent that he may not be able to play drums. It's going to be on doctor's orders. But, I was even saying to a friend of mine, even just him getting up and singing a couple of songs. When I saw him in 2017 in New York, he played drums half the show. He sang half the show, just out front without playing the drums. And I swear to this day, I ranked that as one of my top 10 concerts ever. Oh, right? And he wasn't behind the drums the whole night, but just the fact that he was performing. Think about it. Since 2000, the last show he played with Kiss, which was North or South Carolina, I forget. I think it was October 7th or 9th, 2000. He's done 3 shows, one in Australia, one in New York, and then the Eddie Trunk thing, which was, I think, more of a private event. 2 public shows in 22 years. Last year when he put the video out, what was he singing? Don't You Let Me Down, right in his house. I was like, this is the coolest thing, just seeing him singing in his house into a microphone with a record playing, seeing him again performing for, who knows, this might be the last time, right? Let's hope he does something else like this. But it could be the last time.
Yeah.
Pure gold to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, what you said, I agree with everything you just said. It's it's he doesn't do it a lot, and you know, time moves on for all of us, and there's a point you just can't, you know, you can't do things that you used to be able to do, and you know, will he do it again? We hope so, but I don't know if he will or won't. I mean, but if he does, I know I'll be there, because but you know, I was thinking about it because you were talking about doing it. I remember in was it 94, 95, the Kiss convention in LA. I wasn't there, but I saw the videos where he came up on stage with Kiss and sang Hard Luck Woman and so forth. That's going to be what it kind of is. He's going to walk up on stage with Ace. I don't know what they're playing right now, but I mean, you know, go crazy. They walk up and he and Ace, you know, kind of high five or hug, whatever they do together, and then whatever they break into. Man, how can you not be excited about that?
And you know, I even forgot about this, but 95, the Bad Boys tour that Ace and Peter did together. And I saw that, and I saw the second to last show they did on that tour before they came back to Kiss. And Peter came out and he did Strange Ways, I think Nothing to Lose, and Rock and Roll All Night. And all he did was sing. And I don't mean that in a negative way. All he did is sing. All he did was sing. And it was a friggin' incredible experience and a highlight of that night. So if that's what they're doing there, sign me up. I'm golden.
And you know, be clear, he wants to drum. It just whether or not, you know, whether or not it's the right time. If you're still recovering your knee, you can't do it. And he's going to talk to his doctor and see how he feels. But you know, he wants to do it. But you know, Mike, again, when at first when he said he was going to come, woo, great. Then he's going to perform. I mean, if he just sings, win. We're way ahead of the game. So I love to see him drum, but I wouldn't want him to drum if it's going to mess up a new knee.
Oh, God, no. No. His health is far more important than drumming for a couple of songs. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if he just sings, that's great. So, you know, so we'll see what happens. But either way, it's a win for all of us fans.
One or two other things. The Expo that's going on, right? I know you have other people helping you run that side. And, you know, we should just acknowledge the team that's helping you as well, right? I would be remiss if I didn't bring them up because you got a bunch of great people helping you on that. So talk about just the team for a moment and the Expo side of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I've got, you know, I mean, Jay Jowski has been around forever. Rosie Luck, Peter Corey, who runs Kiss Live Auctions, Brian Bell, Dale Walter, Dale Benson, who's our artistic director for it. And I'm going to remember somebody else when we hang up and they're going to call me and say, hey, you know, so, and then a lot of other people are playing a part in it as well. And the expos be really cool. You know, expos are fun. And this facility, what I like about it is they actually have two large expo rooms. So because sometimes like at our events we've had to put the expo like in the hallway, and or you put it in the main concert hall, but the bands need to, you know, have some space to get ready to day. So we have one that's just for the nightly concerts. Then the other one we call it Expo City, and it's going to have all the vendors in there. It's going to be some great vendors, a lot of people you see on Kiss Live Auctions and other just kind of vendors are used to dealing with. But we're also putting a stage in there. The afternoon concert series is there. So my goal, if it goes well, is that when you wake up in the morning, there's Kiss related activities at the event all the time till you put your head on the pillow at night. So it's a corny saying, but I like to kind of, I stay here, play here. So I know it sounds a little corny, but that's the intent, is that from the time you get up, you go get breakfast and you're immersed with Kiss stuff. And, you know, I love expos, you know, I do expos online and stuff. I've got, you know, like your room, I've got a cottage, you know, you guys have basements up north. I've got a cottage out behind me and it's filled with all of my things. But, you know, you're there for 2 days. I wanted you to be able to see all that stuff, then watch music, then go back and see some other things. And so you're in there the whole time, and there's just stuff going on during the daytime. And, you know, the nighttime concerts are going to be, you know, just special without a doubt. But the daytime is going to be so cool with the afternoon concert series, with the expos, you know, with the panel discussions and everything else going on. It's going to be really fun during the day as well.
I'm exhausted just thinking about it. I could only imagine what you're feeling like having planned this for the last 6-9 months.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe longer.
Like I said, I work a job and I come home and I start my other one, which you know, is you know, kind of all passionate based. So, but I love it, and you know, it's a lot of work, and I'll be sad when it's over. You know, so but you know, we were talking about daytimes. I had a conversation with somebody this past week, and they said, "Hey, why don't you do a late night party?" And I go, the challenge is that, we're all in our 50s and 60s.
Yes.
That sounds cool.
That's exactly what I thought when you said it. I'm like, I'm in my 50s. I can't
yeah.
do that.
Yeah. I said, these shows are going to end at like 11:30 at night. And I bet a lot of people are going to say, man, I need to get to bed,
Yes.
So I said, I'm going to pass, I'm usually a more is better. Like, if it's a good idea, let's do it. But I said, I think the late night parties, those days have have passed us by.
At least for me, they have, but whatever that is, what it is.
Yeah.
Anything else, Neil, that you could think of that the fans should know about with this event? Let's tell them how to get tickets. Tell them the website, how to get the tickets.
Yeah. I mean, the tickets are Creatures Fest, creaturesfest.com. I will share that. So we have all different types of tickets. We have general admission, we have VIP, we have some super high end ones. The general admission ones, I suspect are going to be all out probably by this weekend. So and I'm not saying that to push it, but if you're kind of like the Peter Criss meet and greet, if you're thinking about it, I wouldn't pause much later, because I'll get phone calls next week saying, hey, are you going to put more of those tickets online on available? And the answer will be no to that. But it's creaturesfest.com. We have all the meet and greets on there as well. We have package meet and greets. We're doing some things like Bruce is doing a lunch experience where you have lunch with Bruce Kulick. We're doing some other cool things. Again, you can bundle small and see all the different people for some value pricing as well, if you want to see everybody, or if you just want to see, well, you can't buy Ace or Peter, but if you say, hey, I just want to see Quiet Riot, you can just buy that one as well. But the value ones, I mean, if it fits in your budget, that's certainly that's why we put them together, is that everybody see everybody and save some money by doing, instead of buying them all individually.
You really have, to me, something for everybody, right? You have the 1-day tickets. If somebody can only come for 1 day, you've got the general admission, you got the VIP. I think there's the War Machine section. You got bundle packages for meet and greets, individual meet and greets. It's up to each person what they can afford with their budget, right? But you really gave somebody an option to choose whatever is best for them.
Yeah, and the place is a small intimate place, and the general admission tickets, if you just buy that, it's $175 for 3 days, $58 a day. If you think about everything you get, it's the best deal ever, and you'll see everything up close. I mean, so if your budget is just, hey, a general admission ticket, you should go. You're gonna have a hell of a, you're gonna have a great experience. And frankly, some of the people that buy the high-end tickets, they subsidize to keep the ticket prices down for, and I'm not dismissing the $175 isn't a lot of money. It is, but there's no way you'd see all those bands if collectively you saw them individually for that price. And
Neil, I'll say this, and look, I live in New York, so prices sometimes a little bit higher. A couple of weeks ago, I went to see Slash. The ticket was $120 a person, right? For a 3-hour concert with an opening act. I just bought tickets to the Motley Crue Def Leppard thing, and that was $160 a ticket. So, and this is for a one. To me, I got value for both of those. No complaints, zero. To pay $175 for a 3-day event, Expo, multiple concerts. I mean, to me, that you're almost giving, in my opinion, you're almost giving it away. And I know people will crucify me for that. But I paid $120 for a 3-hour concert, Slash, which I loved, by the way. Love the show.
I mean, like I said, the reason I do, sometimes people say those upfront tickets are, people are paying a lot of money for them. I go, you should be glad they're paying them, because I take that money to because all I really do is I take the cost of the event, and if I took them and divide them by the number of tickets total, the average ticket price would be much higher. Right. So what I do is I front load a bunch of them, so it keeps the other ticket prices down for most of the people. So not you should thank them, but they are actually they are paying some of your price to being there, because the overall cost, if you divide by the number of tickets, is to put the event on is not $175. It's greatly higher.
I'm sure it is.
And one fun thing you asked is that on Friday, we actually have a lot of people, because we have over 100 hotel nights sold for Thursday night. But most people coming on Friday. We're having a really cool pool party all day on Friday, Mike. There's 4 really neat women that they're kind of called, people call them the Kiss Cruise Kitties, and they're hosting it, and they're gonna have a lot of that. We're gonna have live music out by the pool, and the idea is I didn't want to have one like, hey, you got to be there at 2:00, or you're somebody's going to be there. I wanted to make it the whole day because people arrive at different times.
Sure.
But then I thought, people come and they check in. I don't want them to go, well, we're here now. What do we do? So we out Friday, go out by the pool. They're going to have serving drinks out there. There's going to be live music. Memorial Day in Nashville is supposed to be delightful. Hang out by the pool. You can see friends that you haven't seen in a while. You can meet new friends that you're going to be spending the next 2 days with. So that's going to be on Friday. Sunday, we'll tell you it's Memorial Day. And we shouldn't lose sight of the fact of what that holiday represents for people that have made the sacrifices for
glad you're saying
the great
that.
country we live in. Yep. And Alan Johnson, who's a big Kiss fan, his wife's Medusa. He's a veteran, spent his career in the military. We are having a special salute to the veterans on Sunday. We're going to bring every Kiss fan who served in the military or has a kid in the military on stage, and we're gonna applaud them. And
That's
I
awesome.
wasn't in the military, and I've got a ton of respect for Alan and everybody else who made that sacrifice to and certainly pay tribute to the people that lost their life. Alan's going to host that because I felt like a person from the military should do that. We're going to bring him on stage. We're going to thank him. We're going to bring one of the musicians up. I'm not going to say who at this point. He's going to play the Star Spangled Banner for respect for all the military people as well. I think again I'm it sounds corny. I feel like we're all so lucky to live where we live, and we should be very thankful for people that have put their lives in lines for things that, with all the flaws we might have in our country, gosh, we're lucky to be here, and we should thank the people that protect what we have here.
I could not have said it any better than you, and that's a great way to me to close this out because, like you said, those people are the real heroes to me of all of us, right? So I'm so glad to hear that you guys are going to be honoring it. And like you said, let's remember what the weekend is about. And it's a great thing you guys are doing. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, thank you. So again, creaturesfest.com information. And I'm looking forward to Mike seeing you again.
Yes.
Haven't seen you in person since last
cruise,
year, I guess.
the cruise.
Yeah, cruise. So see you again in May, and look forward to seeing everybody else.
Absolutely. Neil, thank you for joining. You heard Neil say it. The general admission tickets are almost sold out. You don't want to miss out, okay? Go buy those tickets now before it's too late, because I can guarantee you after this weekend, it's going to be the talk of the Kiss community. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Neil, again, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in person in about 8 weeks. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Till next time. Peace out, everybody.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep. All righty. There you have it. I'd like to thank Neil for taking some time out, talking all about Creatures Fest, and giving us some more insight about this amazing event. I know I'm speaking for a lot of Kiss fans when I say this weekend is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be one that we talk about for many years to come. Thanks so much, Neil, for sharing some time with us and for putting this all together for the fans. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.